Back again with another video. What's goody, my good people? What's up? Um, Today we're gonna talk about digital identification. We're gonna talk about digitalized presence, um, your online profile, and how the government means to use that as a tool to track you and your movements, man. All right, I have here an article about um, another one of the Rockefeller Foundation's plays on working towards that digitalized society where virtually everyone, well, at least they plan to have virtually everyone on this digital ID system where it's no more ID cards, it's no more passports, just straight online systems that are triggered or activated by chips in your hand or could be a card, so that if you're at whether you're at a hotel or a restaurant or on a plane or in a hospital, it's just one common ID system, and this is at a global scale, not just locally, not just nationally, whether you're in Nigeria or you're in the UK, it's the same ID system, controlled and organized by the same organizations, which are funded by one, the Rockefeller Foundation, and two, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So I'm gonna be getting a bit into that. So get this. So like 10 years ago, right? The Rockefeller Foundation published this eerily prescient autocratic lockstep scenario. And I'll get into that later. And apparently it's been working to make it true. The most recent initiative in this regard is a cooperation of the Rockefeller funded Gavi Immunization Alliance with MasterCard and a biometric ID company named TrustStamp. All right, so I'm just going to pull up the page of the Gavi Immunization Alliance. And what do you know? What do you know? It's another one of these welfare organization pages that want to save Africa or improve the welfare um of regions in Africa, man. And it's growing up, I've been seeing pages like this all my life, man. It's all the same. It's all the same. Look at this, raising a generation on immunity, man. Like they want to put these potions into people's bloodstreams, and look at the women. Look at these sisters over here. They're excited. They're happy about it. They're like, yeah, yeah, bring it on. They're happy at the demise, man. They're welcoming their death sentences. At least my man's over here, the brother over here. At least he's looking cautious. He's looking doubtful. He's a bit weary about what's going on, and I know the baby knows what's going on because look at him. He's not having any of it. It's just the sisters that are about this life, man. But yeah, man. So this is the page, Gavi Immunization, trying to achieve immunization rate of I think over 80% in the African region. And I just want to show you something down here. I just want to show you. I just want to show you some of the partners of this organization. Now look at this, man. Look at this. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, man. And I said this in my earlier video. When you see these guys, when you see such organizations, and they claim that they're about welfare, they're about improving the world, and they're about making the world a better place. Man, that's just a load of crap, bro. Don't you ever believe these organizations when they start talking this kumbaya love for everyone rhetoric, man. It's just rhetoric, man. These guys are evil, they are wicked hearted, and they want to see the majority of the people in this world dead. Bill and Melinda Gates are eugenicists. They want to decrease the world's population um, by I think 7%. I'm not sure on that number. And it's not just them, man. It's not just them. It's organizations like UNICEF, the WHO. The World Bank. Oh man, World Bank. That's another one. That's a whole nother video that I got to do on how these guys use money to shackle a nation, to bring a nation down to its knees. Um, they use donor country governments. They use research agencies. That's another one, man. That's another one. A lot of the information and data published by research agencies, a lot of the times, are not exactly truthful. A lot of the times, they follow the narrative which their funders um, want. You know, like the data is always going to support what the funders want the society to believe. They also use vaccine manufacturers as partners, civil society organizations as partners, and private sector organizations as partners. So yeah, man, this is one of them, and it's just the same story over again, man. Target the most impoverished nations first, not because they feel they need the help the most, but because they want to start with the people at the bottom. They want to start with getting rid of impoverished people at the bottom, people who can't really afford to fend for themselves, or people who can't really afford to support themselves. But anyway, let me get back to the article. All right, so there's this there's this selection of assumptions, or more so a timeline that these organizations want to follow, and that's called a lockstep scenario. By lockstep scenario, well, lockstep is just like a code name for this timeline. It's more so like just a profile, or just a word to identify this particular timeline. They have a lot of scenarios, a lot of timelines, or predictive programs that they want to be implemented, or already are implemented for the future, to be honest. And I'll just be getting into the lockstep scenario in particular for now. I probably will be getting into the others, but not so much soon. But like I said, keep an eye out on this channel, and we'll get into it. All right, so this lockstep scenario, this program, this timeline, this implementable set of stages for the foreseeable future, it all leads to one thing, which is an authoritative government, rulership from the top down, rulership from military, police states, martial law, technocracies. They want you to follow what doctors and scientists say. They want their say to be final. And so this is now this is pretty interesting. This is a timeline that came out, that was published in 2010. And let me know if it sounds familiar. All right, so the timeline starts like this. In the first beginning few phases, we have a virus pandemic with high contagion and high mortality, and then after that, we go to overwhelmed health systems of many nations. When these health systems are overwhelmed, who gets killed, young or old? Now, in this document, it says young in this case, but I feel like it was more so um, elder people passing away in the events of the pandemic. All right, next in the phase, economies are devastated. Next phase, international mobility of people and goods severely impeded. Does that sound familiar yet? All right, next phase, international mobility of people and goods severely impeded. Tourism and suspended animation, global supply chains interrupted, retail establishments shut down, lack of containment protocols in developing countries, non-authoritarian response of US government fails, authoritarian Chinese approach works much better, other nations emulate authoritarian high surveillance Chinese approach, endurance of more authoritarian rule after pandemic. We haven't really gotten here yet, but it's still something that could approach in the near future. shocked populations welcoming more surveillance. Next phase, and authoritarian rule. Next phase, biometric ID gets a boost. Next phase, more government control of industries vital to national interest. Nationalization. Next phase, IT monopolists keeping innovations within national borders. This is beginning to sound very communistic. A multipolar IT world with US dominance emerging. Philanthropic foundations becoming part of US external and security policy. And lastly, outsized influence of large philanthropies. Basically, corporate states, like instead of politicians, it's going to be like having a handful of $1 billion level or maybe even $1 trillion level corporations being in charge. All right, so the Rockefeller Foundation has provided the seed funding in 2017 for ID 2020, which is an initiative to get every world citizen a unified biometric identity by 2030. Who thinks we'll get there by then? I'm not I'm not too sure. But I mean 7 years is a long time and a lot can happen in 7 years. So like I wouldn't be surprised if we actually get there. And plus, man, like everything in this world is scripted. Every event, every political character on stage, the news, celebrities, figures in entertainment, sports, everything is scripted. It is staged. There's nothing real behind the screen. And before we go on with these videos, man, a lot of you people need to start understanding that your favorite rapper's a liar, your favorite actor's a liar, your favorite TV host is a liar. They're all actors reading a script, man. That's the truth. So their partners are Microsoft, the Immunization Alliance, Gavi, and Accenture. Accenture recently featured on this blog as creator for the World Economic Forum of the Total Control Dystopia. All right, um this is the ID 2020 program, which is being funded by the Rockefeller Foundation and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's a And look at this, we have here the Gavi Vaccine Foundation. They're working in tandem with ID 2020 towards a digital ID for everybody, supposedly by the year 2030. Um, it's 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 a web, man. All these guys are in the same bed together. All these organizations and philanthropic organizations, man. It's a crazy world, man. I'm gonna give you some time to read this. It's just about their messaging, their marketing, I guess, the face that they want to show the world, hiding their true intentions. I'm gonna leave this here for a few seconds. If you want to read all of this, just pause the video. All right, so in the next part of this article, it talks about Africa becoming test ground for trust stamp, vaccine record, and payment system. Now, when it comes to Africa, and that's where I'm from. That's home. That's dear to me. When it comes to Africa, man, for some reason, it's always a testing ground for something. Uh, a new genetically modified strain of corn, um, a new drug or pill for an STD, a new vaccine every few years for some disease or illness or virus that springs out of nowhere, or a new social crediting basic income for all type of system. It's been going on for years and it's still going on to this day. But anyway, I'm gonna get into this article. A biometric digital identity platform that evolves just as you evolve is set to be introduced in low income remote communities in West Africa thanks to a public private partnership between, yes, the Bill Gates backed Gavi Vaccine Alliance, MasterCard, and the AI powered identity authentication company TrustStamp. So I just want to show you something before I get back to the article. And man, this is something we've seen before. These organizations, these welfare organizations acting like they want to save the world and help the people. So they make the struggling people of Africa, the face of their organization. And this is Gavi, man. Gavi that was just being talked about in the article. I went ahead to check out their website. And one, I see this usual image of Africans being the face of their cause, of their global goal or agenda per se. Now, look at these sisters right here. They're smiling at their demise. They're smiling at their poison, you know? Like they're being offered a vaccine and they're like, yeah, bring it on, sure. But my brother right here, he sees something's up. He's looking at the camera like he suspects something. And I know my little guy over there, he knows something's up. He knows for sure that something ain't right. He's looking at them with all the suspicion in the world. And yeah, you should, little man. Like when they come to you with vaccinations or medicine that is free, it's gonna cost something else. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to show you in particular. I wanted to show you this right here, the partners of the Gavi Foundation. Um, one, UNICEF. Two, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Like I said before, man, we're gonna see this foundation a lot in these upcoming videos. They have their hands in a lot of pots, man. They have their hands in a lot of people's pockets. They fund a lot of organizations, a lot of research, a lot of experiments, and just a lot of corporations that front as one thing but act in another. The World Bank, this is another organization that has their hand in a lot of pots. And honestly is responsible for a lot of countries going into massive debt. So what the World Bank does is they offer a country money, finances, and with that comes collateral in terms of a failsafe in case a country cannot pay them back. So they offer millions or if not billions in funds, and in return, a country has to put up their natural resources or one of their infrastructure in collateral. So if it's giving one country $1 billion per se, in turn, a country has could sign off its hospitals or its mines, whether it produces diamonds, gold, or any other precious metals or gems. It could be a water source, you know, an underground spring, or it could be a country's factories, a country's set of factories. Now, with any of these things being given away, it could cripple the country's ability to pay back the World Bank in the long run. And honestly, the World Bank knows that. It knows that it's offering or giving a nation an amount that it has no business lending and an amount that it will definitely not be able to pay back. Um, but such is such in its plan and strategy in order to consume or to strategically take ownership of a country's natural resources for its own personal gain. And the World Bank is run by Jews, by the way. Let's see what else we have here. World Health Organizations, civil society organizations, vaccine manufacturers. This is all coming together, man. This is all coming together. This is like pieces of a puzzle. This is like several fingers of a common hand, you know? And I just wanted to show you guys this because organizations never work alone. You know, there's always a network, there's always a puzzle to be put together, there's always a web of other organizations or individuals or families or corporations that are working in tandem towards a common goal. All right, so back to the rest of the article. Okay, so this program was first launched in 2018, and it saw Trust Stamp's digital identity platform integrated into the Gavi Mastercard Wellness Plan. which is a digital vaccination record and identity system that is also linked to MasterCard's click to play system that is powered by its AI and machine learning technology called New Data. So, MasterCard, in addition to professing its commitment to promoting centralized record keeping of the childhood immunization, also describes itself as a leader towards a world beyond cash. Now, that's digital cash, that's social crediting, that is the abolition of physical notes and coins, and more so just you swiping an ID card or your smartphone or maybe a wristwatch on your wrist or a chip implanted into one of your hands, so that that is the new currency, that is the new form of trade. Get this, the effort since its launch nearly 2 years ago has been funded via 3.8 million in Gavi donor funds, in addition to a matched donation of the same amount by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I'm even getting tired of saying this name, man. um, you're gonna be seeing this name or the name of this organization making charitable funds to a lot other organizations, research facilities, politicians, and research facility running experiments. And I just want to say that if an organization or family or whatever have you is funding a research program or a certain experiment, that is because it wants the results of that program or experiment to lean towards the narrative that the funding organization wants, not necessarily that the results are going to reflect truth. All right, so in early June, Gavi reported that MasterCard's Wellness Pass program would be adapted in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Around a month later, MasterCard announced that TrustStamp's biometric identity platform would be integrated into Wellness Pass, as TrustStamp's system is capable of providing biometric identity in areas of the world lacking internet access or cellular connectivity, and also does not require knowledge of an individual's legal name or identity to function. The wellness program involving Gavi, MasterCard, and TrustStamp will soon be launched in West Africa and will be coupled with the COVID-19 vaccination program once a vaccination becomes available. So it's tit for tat, you know. If you want the benefits of this program, if you want to be able to conveniently use this digital identification system, especially in times when it'll become more growingly popular and more growingly difficult to operate in society without it, you are going to have to need, or you are going to have a COVID 19 vaccination or any vaccination for whatever popular virus or sickness. Or all right, I'm going to dive further into this article and talk about how they want to use this, how Trust Stamp wants to use digital identification to monitor and identify prisoners, more specifically paroles, and how they want to use similar technology for predictive strategizing. So, Trust Stamp has had talks with private and public prison systems, which have revealed an interest in their utilization of Trust Stamp's technology to provide identification for individuals on parole without making them pay for pricey ankle bracelets that monitor their every move. Now, they want to use this. They wanted to justify this as a cheaper alternative to pricey ankle bracelets, but of course that's just for show. That's just for say. They're just. It's just a means of justification. You know, once okay, so they want to justify using the digital identification system as a cheap alternative to ankle bracelets. But that's just a justification. That's just that's just to justify implementing this device or this technology into society. And it starts like this, man. You have people who are outliers in society, who and you have them easily implemented with this technology. And then from there you go on to the outliers before them, before them, before them, until the masses are using this ID. Um, so it starts like this. With digital ID comes social crediting. And by social crediting, I mean you are ranked or given reputation, or more specifically, social points according to how cooperative you are with society. With that being said, the more you disagree or the more you stray away or disalign yourself with society's principles or society's common goals, the less your ranking or score will be. And well, for parole officers, like I'm assuming that's coming straight out of prison, straight to parole. Your social score is going to be pretty low, and that's going to inhibit you from entering certain places, certain restaurants, perhaps neighborhoods. Definitely is going to limit your interaction with people. um, and this is just speculation. You could get rejected access into bars, hospitals, maybe even airplanes. And come to think of it, there's this episode on Black Mirror. Um, it's got that redhead girl from Jurassic Park. I don't know her name, but it's what episode is that, man? That's third season. Third season. Yeah, I think one or two episodes, one or two, but definitely the third season, where she growingly becomes desperate to raise her social credit score so that she can move into a better apartment. And so she devises a plan to go to her high school's high school friend's wedding in order to gain those points, because her high school friend is like a 9.9 or something, or it might have been a 4.9. I think their credit scores were out of 5. But anyway, you brothers can go look that up, man, and go watch that episode. But yeah, that's kind of like how they are foretelling this to go. All right, so further down the article, they're also planning to use this for contact tracing software. So it reads here that police use the software to track protesters during the country. Well, at the time, during what was the country's recent bouts of protest and civil unrest, and this was during the time of COVID-19. So similarly, a controversial Israeli tech firm currently being used in Rhode Island offers AI-powered predictive analytic to identify likely future COVID-19 hotspots. Now, what's wrong with this picture, man? Using technology to predict the future, or using technology to judge people based on their perceived future, it's that is not right. You cannot judge someone before they act or before they break the law, you know. And what this article tells me, that it seems like that is what they're devising this technology to do. Um, Furthermore, organizations or the government having the power to use this or to act similarly to martial law, to use their authority using this technology, that sounds like a technocracy. And a technocracy is the control or a government led by industry experts or the technical elite. And so what they want is they want they pretty much want science to be a god. They want technology and scientific breakthroughs to be a god. They want you to obey to whatever they say, as long as it is backed by science and scientific research that you never really get to investigate, or more so, you never really want to investigate, because the majority of people in society, they don't really care. They're not going to go and investigate on what what scientific research firms are doing. Now, what makes a technocracy so powerful or so resistant towards rebuke is that, once you put scientific knowledge or scientific research in people's faces, they are less prone to question it, to challenge it. You know, they usually say, you even have a lot of people saying, "I'll follow the science. I'll follow the science this. I'll follow the science that." What do the facts say? What do the doctors say? What do the knowledgeable or educated ones say? You know, and the thing about that is that the knowledgeable ones or the educated ones, they're either paid by organizations or families, or they're even a part of families themselves, man. This world is run by billionaire, if not trillionaire families. And if not that, then families that have existed for hundreds of years, which live beyond money, which exist outside of money, you know, families that originated from Austria, you know, the sons and daughters of Esau. Um, But that's a video for another day, man. And I hope you guys pay attention to this and you just keep pondering, man. When you go outside every day, just think about what this society is coming to. Pray to God for truth. Pray to God that He shows you what is going on around you in this world. Thank you.